Every day, hundreds of women go to work in the windows of Amsterdam's world-famous red light district. Each woman's story is different, but none ever dreamed of growing up to be a sex worker.
My gosh, I'm so hot. You are, my God. I know, darling, I know.
Many women hope to leave sex work one day, to find Mr. Right and settle down to a normal life. But in a shady world of fantasy and illusion, where the lines between sex and intimacy are blurred, is any kind of lasting relationship really possible? This is the story of Lina and Sean, who met in an Amsterdam window brothel. They're trying to make their new relationship work, despite the fact that he lives thousands of miles away and she has a very unusual job. Lina works in one of Amsterdam's canal-side windows. 5 years ago, she was sleeping rough on the streets of Bulgaria and desperately needed a way out. She met a pimp who smuggled her to Amsterdam and took over her life, taking all of her money and giving her no choice in the clients she saw. Lina is one of the lucky ones. A year later, a client helped her to break free from her pimp, and she's been working for herself ever since, in the same red light district window.
When I put on people wax, and that's poppers, and that's massage oil, that's gel, the other one is gel, this one is gloves, because we need gloves when we make investigation. Gloves? Yeah. Normally, the gloves is more, okay, it's more clean, you know, when, for example, if I have to stick my fingers in somebody else, even if they're clean, because most of the people who come here and they like that. When you have gloves, it's more safe also, you know, because I also touch a lot of things like the heater and everything. Okay, I always wash my hands and stuff, but it's not nice anyway to put my fingers without any gloves inside. It's not that hygienic anyway, even if your hands are clean. If you're professional or whatever, you have to do that. You cannot, okay, the hands with these hands, you touch money and everything. And it doesn't matter if you wash them or not, that's better to have extra protection, you know?
When Lina first met Sean, she thought he was just another customer. He works on some of the world's finest passenger cruise ships as a safety inspector. This means he spends long months alone at sea.
She's very honest. She's extremely loving and affectionate. Non-judgmental, caring. She's everything I've always wanted and needed, but I didn't realize it until I found it.
Lina sees a lot of men in her window. Some of them are regulars, and some she never sees again.
First time, honestly, I really didn't pay attention on him because it was like one of all of them tourists. And I'm like, yeah, well, and he was like, oh yeah, we'll come back. And I was like, yeah, sure. Meaning when he's out of the door, I'm just immediately forget for a person. But actually, last time when he was by me and he went away, we keep in touch, actually, emailing. And actually, no, and he was calling me. He only was the person who calling me all the time. I never call him or whatever.
Hours can go by with no customers, and it was on a quiet day like this that Lina met Sean.
I was passing through the red light district. I was on my way to another ship because I hop from vessel to vessel to vessel all the time. And I passed by and saw her. She was the only girl that was reading. And started to talk to her. I liked her. I liked her a lot. Liked her a lot. But I don't remember exactly what we talked about. We talked for 3.5 hours. It was a long time. And I gave her my card, my business card, and I told her that I would be back. And she didn't, of course, she didn't believe me.
I saw him, but I didn't pay attention. You know what I mean? The first time was okay. And then, what was it? Oh, yeah, and then I never thought that I'm going to see him again because he's just tourist. You know what I mean?
I paid her whatever I had in my wallet. It wasn't much. I think it was about 90 euros. Was not a lot of money.
You didn't have sex?
No. We didn't have sex until we started dating. Yeah.
Sean was used to complete freedom on the cruise ships, and the idea of dating Lina caught him by surprise.
So I guess it was about a week later, we were emailing and talked on the phone, and she talked about she wanted to do the boyfriend and girlfriend thing. And actually, my first thought was, shit, that means I can't be chasing women on the ships. But that's all right, it worked out.
As far as Sean was concerned, he was now no longer a client. He was Lina's boyfriend.
Sleeping. He didn't know if he had a relation or not, but actually I figured out that I really like him so badly, and I just proposed him to have a relation with me. That was like that. And when I tell him, okay, you accept to have, and I don't accept no for answer. So actually he didn't have that much choice.
Did you do it by email?
Yes.
Really? For many years, Lina's life has been about surviving day to day. Living on the streets in Bulgaria, she was a victim of sex trafficking and now works in the shady world of prostitution with very little chance of getting out. Lina's life is more stable now because she has an unlikely friend who takes care of her. Roger allows her to live with him rent-free in the one-bedroom flat he shared with his late wife, who used to take food parcels to Lina in her window.
I just make her room nice for when she comes home.
Why is there bedding there?
That's my bed. That's mine. I sleep on here, you see, and I rather forgot to put it in the cupboard. I fold my bed up and try and make it look like a living room again instead of a campsite.
That's perfect, thank you.
So I leave at 7. I wake up at 7 and immediately leave and go off on my bicycle. That's my exercise for the day, and let her have the place to herself, and she gets her own breakfast. And then I cycle for maybe an hour and a half, then I stop off somewhere for coffee, and then I go to our favourite sort of coffee shop in the city, and I sit there and read again till she comes. That can be hard because oftentimes she doesn't get up at 7, maybe doesn't get up till 9, leaves me sitting in the coffee shop. And so then eventually she turns up, we have coffee together, we walk to her room to get her key. I make her lunch when I get up, usually. I make her lunch, something she likes, whatever. She doesn't mind what I make her, but I make her some lunch.
Do you mean like a packed lunch?
Yeah, a packed lunch, yeah. But I try to make it interesting. I paint silly faces on the eggshells and things like that to make her laugh. It's a difficult situation. There's me here with a girl less than half my age, and it's like there's a lot of scepticism out there, and people are like, yeah, right, you have a prostitute living with you, yeah, right, pull the other leg. But I'm just doing a job. I mean, not a job, I'm doing something that I feel right about.
It's a remarkable friendship, and one that means the world to Roger.
Look, Lina's got a lot of hurt inside her, and it comes out in different ways that I recognise, but other people don't. That's her previous boyfriends didn't recognise it. They would get angry with her, and that's the last thing you do when she's showing. I mean, 27 years of being treated like she has, and then ends up in a prostitute. That's like, as far as the world is concerned, you're the dregs of society. I mean, she lifts herself above it with her character and everything, but I've seen the side of her where she says to me, I cry in the shower so that I don't show tear stains to my boyfriend. She's so thankful for the little things. And she'll say something sometimes to me, just something in passing, and I'll go to bed at night and I sit and cry. Because she's such a beautiful person, you know. And, sorry. But there's not many people about like her. She's got a lot to teach us. She's had a shit life, but she is forgiving. I'm not forgiving like she is. Boy, what a challenge that is. She forgives so easily.
When I was younger, in my street where I used to live at home, the opposite side of our house had the bar for hookers, right? And because I'm coming from very conservative family, for my mom, that was bad, very bad. You know what I mean? Girls without any moral and stuff like that. So I tell you honestly, I always was laughing at them in a most of the shit way what could be possibly exist. I was very rude to them, really. And in the end, after so many years, look at where I ended. So now I see them in a completely different point of view and I understand them.
When she was just 4 years old, Lina's father abandoned their family. She had a rocky relationship with her mum and left home at the tender age of 15. With no money and no family support, Lina turned to prostitution to survive on the streets of Bulgaria before being smuggled to Amsterdam.
No, but darling, I don't feel at all like working from a long time ago. But it's like I have to.
Since she broke free from her pimp, Lina has more control over who she sees and what she does.
Yes, but not the good part is from the SM. In this way, I like it at some point. Because then I don't have to have sex and all this stuff. Because when you have sex, it's more risky to get disease and stuff. And basically many people just having sex with you so hard or whatever. And I was thinking this point of view that later on with the time, maybe I want to have kids and stuff like that. So I don't want to damage myself inside, you know? And I was not funny at all, anyway. So for me, it was better just to start to do SM.
Lina is less at risk from sexually transmitted diseases because she no longer offers clients full sex. She specialises in S&M and bondage, but really she wants to stop sex work altogether. When Lina started the relationship with Sean, she knew how he felt about her job.
I'm okay with the bondage and S&M aspects of it.
He's very okay.
Yeah, the whole sex thing is not. That's not going on. And don't get me wrong. Like, I don't like what she does. I downright hate what she does. But the big picture is, you know, thinking long term about it. It's worth the investment. It's worth the pain.
Did I tell you that I love you?
It frustrates me. I absolutely hate what she does. I don't want her to be doing it. I want her to leave it. And I think in 6 months it's probably over.
Do you not want her to work doing that job?
I would love for her to leave that job.
Do you think she wants to leave it too?
I know she wants to leave it. She dreads what she does.
How do you think that affects her, you know?
Well, I mean, job satisfaction accounts for a lot. How much of your life do you spend at work? If you hate what you do, it's not a good place to be. It just makes you miserable, and then you project that misery on other people. So I'd like to see her happy, relaxed and happy. Because I've seen her in moments of happiness, and she's amazing.
Because Lina works during the day, she spends a lot of her time dealing with the demands of regular clients.
No good?
I go and visit best friend Roger, who affectionately calls her TT. He's all too familiar with what this means.
She has this client, he's a bit sad. Did she mention a guy called Chi? Well, he's a Chinese guy, and he's about 30, and he lives with his parents, but he's a very sad character, actually. And he thinks that TT is his girlfriend. This industry has a lot of, it's very sad, actually. They all think that she's their girlfriend. And even if a guy comes, say, once a month or once or 2 months to see her, he really is in fantasy land. He thinks that she's been waiting for 2 months to see him, and they're almost quite put out when they think she's cheating on them when they get to her room and find she's busy. But Chi is about 30, he lives with his parents, he's very unhappy, he doesn't like his job, and TT is his girlfriend. He stays at home all the time, in his room, and he watches computer games and porn, and abuses himself, so she said his helicopter doesn't work very well. That has to go in her glossary, I think, of terms. She's got a few others. I mean, she's got some guy she goes and she'd just ring him up and say, hey, guy, I need 50 euros. And you go, all right, what time will you be around to pick it up? And I'll be here about, I'll be there 6. And so he's waiting, and then 10 o'clock at night, 11, he'll call, and well, I'm still waiting for you. Well, oh, darling, I'll come tomorrow. Okay. I'm thinking, my goodness, who are these people? Well, I mean, the intimate nature of prostitution. This is why many guys fall in love with her. And she has to keep up the pretense because they pay her and they give her money. So it's like she got to keep all these clients separate. She can't tell them, any of them, that she's got this guy, Sean, because they think she's their girlfriend. Even their married ones. Sad, eh?
Okay.
Because of my involvement with LINA, I hear all these stories and I meet some of these people. She's got a guy that bought her the Apple iPad with all the accessories, the stand there, and that's not cheap, is it? And he said when he was here, I'm married and I'm very happily married. I love my wife, but Lina gives me something that my wife can't. It's like another world. Yeah.
I want to meet other men who've fallen for prostitutes, and Wim is one of the only ones willing to talk to me. It was a relationship that changed his life.
Yeah, true love is something you build up in your younger years, but yeah, sometimes it breaks up and it will be a scar forever, and you're never the same anymore, let me say that. Yeah. I've learned my lesson, let me say that. I've learned my lesson with that. Just be nice and be nice to them, and they know you, and don't fall in love.
A warning.
I've had that. just like them, and respect them. Yeah. And have fun with them. Yeah, sure. Gives you pain in the heart. Yeah, I know guys, he was an American also, and he went for years with the same lady, and her name was Sarah, and They went out and he took her to dinner. I don't know what he paid her, but he paid her a lot over the years. And he always said, oh, I know her longer than I did my first wife. Oh, that is good, that is good. And, and then all at once, without a warning, she was not there anymore. And that is a pain in the heart. No, yeah, it's difficult, yeah, so.
Lina and Sean's romance began in a world where, for the women, sex is just a deal. It's had a profound effect on Sean's attitude.
If she asked for money, I'd give her some money, but it's not really how our relationship works. She's got to buy the farm, right? So after she buys the farm, and we're married, I don't know, she can do whatever she wants. If she wants to be a stay-at-home wife or go work or do whatever she wants.
By buy the farm, what do you mean?
She's gonna have to be married before I open the checkbook like that. I mean, do I take her out to dinner? Oh, absolutely. Will I buy her a dress if she wants a dress? Sure. Yeah, I won't hesitate to do that. I don't trust at all. You know, none of my friends would allow me to marry if there's no prenup. In fact, they would stop the wedding. It would not happen. But I talked to Lina about it, and she said, listen, I'm not interested in you for your stuff.
Curious about what Lina really thinks about Sean's stuff, I show the couple some pictures of Amsterdam's world-famous diamonds.
The ring, in a simple way, an opinion in a simple way, is just shining stones. Simple. That's what are the diamonds. What? Sometimes things for 50 cents have more value for me than diamonds for 1 million. You know?
Do you like that idea? That it's what you give, like, the reason you give a gift is more important than what the gift is?
Yes, I like the idea.
But still happy with diamonds.
You gotta remember, I'm taking her to the United States, and look at the girl,
That's
right?
gonna be messed.
So I mean, really, I gotta get her the biggest, shiniest rock I can. That way, all the other guys go, oh shit, I can't compete with that. Move on to the next one.
Lina has never set foot outside Europe, but Sean plans to take her home to meet his family, starting with his mother.
She took it better than I thought she would, that's for sure. When I told her, I sat her down and I said, we have to have a talk. And my mother sat there for a moment. She said, "Does she make you happy?" And I said, "Oh no, she hasn't tied me up yet."
You didn't.
I did. No, so my mom said, if she makes you happy, who am I to judge? There are worse girls you could date, I don't think it's what my mother would have picked out for me, but my mother's not me, so it doesn't matter.
Just like Lina, Sean's family situation is complicated. He's estranged from his father, but he often speaks to his mother.
Actually, my mother's actually pissed off because I won't give her the recipe.
Sean's Texan shrimp is a true taste of home, but Lina doesn't seem interested.
Go down the line and pull off
That's them shredded things what's called in the tail.
No, we'll take 2 or 3 times.
Normally don't feel it, but normally people clean them.
From this way, go left.
Normally they clean them.
To right. You kind of put your thumb in between his feet right there. You should be able to kind of feel it I don't know the scientific
Shell,
term.
peel the shell back.
Yeah, and then you can grab the shell and it will lift up like that.
All evening, Lina's been distracted, and after dinner she goes to make a phone call.
Moments of triumph. Like,
Something upsets her, and Sean goes to see what's wrong. She's having trouble with money.
Okay. Yeah, she lends him money, but she's so good in her heart. She'll lend anybody money. But she lent him some money, and of course, on condition he paid it back. But he doesn't, of course. And he's made it very difficult for her. She needed the money to pay for her room, and then she couldn't work for 4 days because she has to pay her room up front. This piece she was doing to this character on the phone, Sean wasn't with her, so he's only now with her, but what he's saying to her, I don't know. I think she listens to him, though. I think she's listening to Sean, which is good. She's not saying, oh, I know what I'm doing, or don't tell me what to do. She loves the guy, so obviously, and he'll help her. I mean, that's what love is. That's what love is, isn't it? You help each other, don't you?
I know Roger can't solve all Lina's problems, and neither can Sean. Many prostitutes hope that meeting the right man will change their lives, but the reality is more complex. I go and see social worker Charlotte Bristol, who supports women like Lina through the problems they face.
The social workers, we speak, of course, a lot with the women that want to get out of prostitution. That's our main business, as I would say. And we see a whole, like an umbrella of little problems that need to be solved before they are actually able to start a proper life. And that can be housing, debts, psychological problems, drug problems, problems within family or relationships, problems with pimps, safety. It can be a whole lot. If you look at the boyfriends, they often, not all of them, but they often choose then for men that you and I probably will, our hairs will go right up in the air like, ooh, that's a scary guy. And they would go for that one. And if they have a good one, they say, it's kind of boring. The life as a prostitute and the life outside prostitution is so different and very difficult for them. Normal thing is picking up the phone and telling you, hey, I feel so-and-so, I don't want to do this, or I'm going to be late, or I cannot make it, is often a problem. The life they have as prostitutes is also day by day. You get your money every day in your hand. You decide if you want to go and work or not. And when you get up, if you take a week off, or you're your own boss, you decide for yourself. So we find that also in other things, that they, something has to happen and they decide, oh no, I don't want to go there anymore, I don't want to do it anymore. So to get out is also very difficult to say goodbye to that, because then they all of a sudden sit at home. This is my life, I sit here, I'm cooking, I'm going to school, I go to my job. Oh my God, this is very boring. And I cannot stand having to listen to my boss, working from 9 to 5. Today I don't want to go. I want to work in the night, not in the day, or maybe I would like to start at 11. Yeah, you cannot. So that makes it very, very, very difficult.
Have you ever experienced women who have just cut off from you without explanation?
Yes, quite often. Quite often. And they cut off and they come back. Not always, but also quite a large percentage comes back. Sometimes after a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months, sometimes a couple of years.
It's really difficult for most women to escape the trap of sex work, and Lina will need all the help she can get.
The interesting thing about girls who work as prostitutes is they're more real. It's not fake. They'll tell you. They'll tell you exactly how it is. Men are chasers, women are choosers. Okay. How does a man chase a woman? He takes her out, he buys her dinner, he brings her flowers, he buys her jewelry, all that crap. It's the same thing. He's still paying for it. He's just not paying for it with cash. It's just an unspoken thing. And then what does she do? She gives her consent eventually when she feels that he has shown enough signs of affection. It's virtually the same thing under a different name. You know, I had a girlfriend that I bought her a house. Yeah. Same thing. Same thing. Why'd I buy her a house? She was sleeping with me. That's simple.
There's a lot that Lina still doesn't know about Sean. It's not clear if he's made a clean break from his ex or if she's still living in their house.
For goodness sake.
While Sean goes back to work on the cruise ships, Lina continues her usual routine. For the first time in her life, she's thinking about the future.
Now? Yeah, probably with the job. Yeah, I hope I'm not gonna do that job till the rest of my life, definitely. But to change it now, what I want to change, I don't know actually what I want to change because I never think that further away what I want because what I'm being through, never I had to think, okay, what I'm gonna do in a year or two because in the situation where I used to be, I only, as further as I was thinking if I'm gonna survive tomorrow or that day. And now these things start to change. For example, since when I met Sean and I really want to spend the rest of my life with him. And sometimes when you think in that way, it's quite scary. You know, because I never had that. I've never been more happy in my life. I never was happy. Like now, I'm really now the most of the happy what I ever could possibly be. Yeah, because I never had that. I never had normal relation. You know all the boyfriends what I had, they were completely cuckoo. You know what I mean? But with him, he seems so normal. You know, and things is like the life what I have and what I live, nothing is normal. And when you meet somebody normal, that's really that's not what I'm used to. You know, I'm used to.
Lina came to Amsterdam to escape hardship on the streets of Bulgaria. She's now closer than ever to getting out of sex work and having a more normal life.
Where is the bread then?
The bread's on the table.
You mean, how are you going to make breakfast then without bread?
It's on the table.
Why you move it from
I
here?
didn't move it. It's with your panties.
You see what I'm talking about?
Maybe it's with your panties.
Maybe on Thursday evening at dinner.
Okay, yeah. That's okay, yes. Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I like
After weeks apart, Lina is on her way to meet Sean again.
I will still have time. Oh my gosh, it's only 25 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm just freaking out, I swear. Whatever. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
But there's a problem. Sean's flight is not on the arrivals board. My first thought is that he stood her up. But Lina is not the most organised person I know.
I mean, I have no idea.
Really?
No. Darling, I have no
Why don't we
idea.
go to Arrivals one and see who turns up?
Yes.
Yeah? It's definitely today, is it? Who's coming?
Yes, I hope. Okay, that's quite an exciting situation.
You say exciting?
No.
I say, Jesus, fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Lina spots a black cowboy hat and boots. Before now, Lina and Sean have spent just 5 days together, so it's no surprise they're nervous.
So that's my Johnny Bravo, yeah?
Except I've got cat hair right now. And that's not good. Cat hair is never
I will
good.
make it.
Because you're not on the ship long enough to make any friends. You're only on for a week to 10 days. And you're not ashore long enough to foster any relationships. So it's horribly lonely. It is not a married person's life. It's not a family guy's life. I mean, when I'm lucky enough to ask her to marry me, that's it. It's done. I'm done doing this job. I'm gonna have to leave it. Otherwise, I'll always be in trouble because I'll never be around.
What is that face? Jesus, he's freaking me enough, so don't do that face too.
Sean's rented an apartment so that he and Lina can spend the next few days together in private.
Okay, darling, bye, and I see you soon. Yeah,
We're getting a shot from up there.
When Lina finally surfaces, she goes back to work in the red light district, seeing her regular customers and giving all of her spare time to Sean. During one of their precious get-togethers, Sean reveals what happened with his ex-girlfriend.
We're getting along great. So for about a month, everything's perfect, right? Famously, we're sending text messages, we're calling each other. She's coming over. Yeah, we're back in, normal, just the way it was. Everything's happy, right? And then I'm sitting in my office one day, and I get this text message from her that says, "You won't be able to get a hold of me next week." And I text back, and I was like, "Why? Is everything okay?" Yeah, that's strange. And she responds with, "Yeah, everything's fine. I'm just going on vacation with my boyfriend."
Hey!
Lina accepts Sean's story without question, even though it's still not clear if he's free from this previous relationship. Before she met Sean, S&M and bondage weren't part of Lina's sex life with boyfriends.
Actually, we have quite good sexual life, and it doesn't say because I do SM and we both like it that every time we have SM or is this going to be the relation. We just have quite normal relation, like normal couple. Yes, but it's not because I do SM our relation is based on that. Not at all. We're just normal couple. That's all. So sometimes we have fun with SM and things, but it's not like relation dominant and submissive because look at it that way. I also cannot be non-stop busy with SM. Because also sometimes it's quite heavy on your mind. It's not. You have to be busy, but it's like I also like to make love. It's not to be all the time hardcore and stuff like that. But a good part of SM is that in the end it's whatever you decide you're bored from sex or whatever, you always can switch it or mix it or whatever. Just give you more opportunity to have more fun sex, more pleasure. Anyway, so we will see. I will make him to be good boy and listen. It's nice.
We've played games, but it's not every night.
No, and honestly, I will not have their energy to do that every night. And it's not about the energy, it's about the moods and how you feel. Because for me, if I want to punish him or spank him or whatever, it's when I feel like. It's not like a setting, okay, today we play SM and tomorrow. No, this doesn't work like that. Sometimes from normal sex can turn to the SM. It just depends how you feel,
She is amazing in bed.
Thank you. That's good recording. one for me.
Really good sex is in the mind. That type of intimacy that Lina sees in the bondage community shows you that it's in the mind. It's always in the mind. There's nothing I could ask that girl to do that she would judge me on. Not a thing.
I can't stop thinking about her. She's the prettiest flower on the vine.
It's finally time for Sean to leave.
She's an angel. She's sweeter than the sweetest muscadine. I see her each day, but
It will be weeks before Lina sees him again.
you've never spoken a word.
Until then, it's back to business as usual.
Be at the party tonight, and I'm gonna walk up to her. Sherry, Sherry, won't you dance with me? Pense avec moi, Jolie. There's a Creole moon shining over Bayou Coulee. Won't you dance with me, Sherry? Her daddy's got money and I'm a poor boy, but I won't let that keep us apart. If I get a chance, just this one dance, I know she'll see what's in my heart.
When I first met Lina 2 years ago, she was working for herself in the same Amsterdam canal-side window. Back then, she seemed happy in her job and thought she might never give it up. Now she's in her late 20s. Lina wants a steady relationship and a normal life outside of sex work. But it still isn't clear if Sean is her knight in shining armour.
You know, because, you know, with my job also, you see so many men. And it's like, yeah, well, next one, you know, maybe sounds a little bit... You know, sometimes when you meet somebody, you know, okay, this is the right one. I know it's different than the rest. And honestly, with my job and for my age, since when I have relations, I started to have relations since when I was 15. And for my age, actually, I had quite much more relation than normal people or than more people on that age. Now I want something different. Now I want to make up something from my life. You know what I mean? And it's not like only about drinking or only sex and stupid thing or drugs. Because before I was only that, just drinking, sex and drugs, and that was it. You know, and it's not that I'm something proud of, but it's not something that I'm ashamed of. Because exactly the experience what I had made me who I am. You know, and to see things what now at the moment are really important for me.
If things don't work out with Sean, and Lina has to find her own way out of sex work, her options are very limited. I ask social worker Charlotte what advice she would give to Lina.
Well, it depends on when they've come to Holland. When you come to Holland, you need to register yourself officially at the city council, the city hall, and you have to start paying tax. If you've done that for 5 years, then you're building up rights. So your position as a Bulgarian will also change. So for a Bulgarian woman who wants to quit prostitution and has not been registered long enough, we looking forward also into the future is to start learning Dutch, because that will increase their possibilities on the job market.
Lina's still 1 or 2 years away from gaining her full legal right to live in Holland, and she speaks very little Dutch.
Lovely.
From a young age, her life has been so hard. It's no surprise she's willing to make the effort with Sean and do anything to bridge the distance between them.
I'm getting kind of used to see him on Skype, and then when I don't see him, I quite miss him. Okay, normally I miss him, that's fine, but when I'm used to see him, and last time when we spoke, because last week I'm staying most of the time till 4 o'clock in the morning, because he's getting home. Our time here is 1, 2, and there is 7 o'clock, 8. So I was going 4 o'clock in the morning in the bed, and now we switch. Now he wake up his time at 2:30 in the morning there, and here is 8:30. So now we switch literally. I still see him in the night, but it's just only for half hour because I cannot keep it up to be awake till 4 in the morning.
You must be really tired from that.
Yeah, I am. And then, of course, in the next day, I'm grumpy as hell.
Lina, what kind of stuff do you talk about on Skype?
No, I don't know, some dirty things.
Little does she know, but Sean has a surprise in store for Lina. Next time he visits, he's whisking her off on a luxury cruise holiday, and that's not all.
I'm going to ask her on the cruise next week. I've got it arranged. I've been in contact with the cruise company to make that happen. I figure then she's strapped, she can't say no.
Whoops.
Probably how I'll do it is, I think I'm going to say something along the lines of, ships brought us together and ships keep us apart, but this ship is the one we need to begin our life on. Will you marry me? The neat thing about this ring is it's got a center band, which we'll use as a wedding band, and that fits inside the ring, and it is, you can change this to a plain gold band or emeralds or rubies or whatever you want. So if she's good and well behaved, then she gets more bands in the future.
Oh my gosh, probably I would say yes. Yeah, of course I would say yes. I love him, and he's not... listen, he's not like this kind of guy. What for me is only for fun. But listen, all this for marriage and things like that, that's definitely freaking me out. But, okay, it's a nice idea or whatever. He's a serious guy anyway, and that's why I love it, because I'm quite messy and all tra-la-la, you know what I mean? He's American and I'm European, so oh my God. And no, but we're two different personalities, you know, and I honestly, sometimes I'm not one of the easiest, and sometimes I'm quite difficult for myself. So, but if Thompson can deal with that, then we're perfectly fine. And you know, on jokes, I tell him, you know what? Only the things to understand perfect is when I say something, you only have to say yes. Then we're perfectly fine.
It's early days for Lina and Sean, so it's really surprising they're thinking of marriage. But if Sean is serious about a long-term future with Lina in America, will he tell the truth about how they met?
We tell people the same story in two different ways. The close friends, all my friends know. Of course, all my friends have visited prostitutes because they're sailors, they've been around. They know I was walking through the red light district and she was in a window, all right? The other version we tell is 200 yards from her window is the bar Wembley. We tell the exact same story, although she was in a bar. It's the only difference.
Lina doesn't have any stories prepared for Sean's friends and family, but she's only too aware of the stigma around sex work.
Happy with that?
If I say to somebody that I'm hooker, first of all, those people don't give you a chance to get to know you like personality only because you have this etiquette, you're a hooker, and they already make them calculations. And just they really don't give you a chance to know you like a personality. And sometimes when I met somebody and I just don't say what I'm doing and we get to know a little bit each other and blah, blah. And then they ask me what you do for a job, and I say, yeah, I'm just a hooker. For them, it's like, yeah, well, I respect that, but they don't change their opinion for you because they already know you before they know what you do. So this makes a big difference.
If things do work out for Lina and Sean, the life he sees for them in Texas is a world away from anything she's ever known.
Let's see here, white picket fence, house, 2.5 kids, car in the garage. Typical yuppie American family.
But it's the mistake of the Jewish.
Lina's the first girl I've ever thought really about having a family with. And that's good. That's good. So we'd probably have children, which would be very interesting because I came from a relatively, even though it was completely screwed up, conservative family. And she came from a broken family that led us on very different paths.
Lina's life has taken her from danger and hardship on the streets of Bulgaria to sex trafficking and prostitution in Amsterdam, and now a real chance of breaking free. Is this a relationship grounded in reality, or is it a fantasy driven by Sean's desire to be Lina's knight in shining armour, and Lina's desperation to escape sex work, build a new life, and create the family she's never had? Sadly, at this point in filming, Lina goes quiet on me. It happens suddenly and without explanation, and I start to worry. I contact Sean and Roger to find out what's wrong, but they don't know. Shortly after, I get a call from Lina, who's furious I spoke to Sean.
Yeah? How? What's wrong?
Having known Lina for over 2 years, I know she can be unreliable, but I'm confused by her bizarre and sudden change in behaviour. There's a lot going on in her life, things I might not even know about. But I thought of Lina as a friend, and I want to say I'm sorry that she can trust me. She's often revealed difficult and painful things to me, things she may not have told Sean. Perhaps this is the reason she suddenly backed off. Having been let down by people close to her so often in life, Lina finds it hard to trust people. She may well have felt I got too close. I want to see if I can make things right. I go to see her at her window, but she isn't there.
Hi.
Hi.
Could you give this note to Lina for me, please?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
So I dropped off a note to Lina which says, I'm sorry for the way things have gone, and I hope that there are no hard feelings. And I've wished her and Sean all the very best. I think that's all I can do. That's all I can do.
The last I hear is from Sean. Lina's read my note, but she doesn't get in touch.
She's the prettiest flower on the vine. She's a dark-eyed Acadian angel.
Sean tells me that on their luxury Mediterranean cruise, he popped the question, and Lina said yes.
I see her each day, but she just
Their next trip will be to Texas for a big wedding, where Lina will meet all of Sean's friends and family all in one go.
know that she'll be
I really hope that the couple can succeed in their relationship, and that the people in Lina's new life in America will never judge her for what she needed to do in the past, simply to survive.
with me. Lost of it, there's a Creole moon shining over Bayou Coulee. Won't you dance with me, Sherry? Her daddy's got money and I'm a poor boy, but I won't let that keep us apart. If I get a chance, just this one dance, I know she'll see what's in my heart. Sherry, Sherry, won't you dance with me? Pense avec moi, ma jolie. There's a Creole moon shining over Bayou Coulee. Won't you dance with me, Sherry? There's a small Cajun band up on the stand, playing in 3/4 time. I gather my courage and walk across the floor and take her pretty little hand in mine. Sherry, Sherry, won't you dance with me? Pense avec moi, ma jolie. There's a Creole moon shining over Bayou Coulee. Won't you dance with me, Sherry? There's a Creole moon shining over Bayou